So today we're going through the sales letter. Last week, what we actually did was that we went through, and if you guys don't know, Gary Halbert, no doubt you do, as marketers know about Gary Halbert, an incredible marketer. Oh my God, Lyndon. Wow, you're in for a treat. I'm going to send you a link to all of my resources because Gary Halbert actually made millions, maybe billions, I don't know. I'll say millions of dollars in direct marketing. So he would write these letters and send these letters out in the post. And in some stages, he would be actually sending out 1 million letters in the mail a month through the post office. And so he just became like an incredible copywriter, and he shared all of his knowledge and passed that on to his son, who is now also sharing that knowledge. But he is an incredible copywriter and has a framework to utilize when doing sales letters and copy. And so that's what we were going through last week. That might have triggered something for you. So let me share my screen and show you guys. So yeah, that was this here. So I can send this out to you, but you can, and in fact, I can just send it in the chat. All right. So it was the coat of arms. So I have an audio here. It does go for like well over an hour. We then generated just like the key outlines from that. And then there's a podcast here. And then this is the classic Gary Halbert sales letter structure and how he basically just writes to people like you're talking to a friend, like he really connects with people in that way. He uses fascination and curiosity to hook readers in with engaging stories and emotional triggers, but it is very quite personalized, his letters. He makes an offer, a no-brainer offer, so that people are just kind of like, ugh, I can't not get this because it would just be silly not to. And he has direct, clear CPAs. So there is a bit of a typical structure to follow here. And it's just nice and straightforward and simple and easy to follow. And so that's there. So there's loads of information on this link, paulamaree.com/Gary hyphen Halbert. And yes, so this is the raw sales letter that we went through last week, the structure of, because basically how it all works is that we write the copy and the structure for the sales letter on a Google Doc, and then we send that off to a creative team who then create the sales letters that we see today online. And so, yeah, this is kind of like their little guide that they go through. And we have little designer notes that we put in here, so forth and so on. Sometimes it is actually quite tricky to visualize what it's going to be like from the raw sales letter. But essentially, you need a starting point and clear instructions to send over to the team. So this time round, I hired Pixabuild. So Pixabuild were the company that I hired to do the build for the sales letter. And we're still working on a few finer details, but I wanted to show you, how it starts to come to life, the sales letter, and sort of like what iterations then I start doing. Because then when sometimes I see it, I'm like, whoa, hang on. What was I thinking there? So forth and so on. But in general, actually, it's come up quite good. And just a few things that I want to go through and make some changes on. So what I'm going to do first is I'll take you through the changes that I would probably do. And first of all, I always look at what's above the fold and really trying to make sure that there is a buy button above the fold. The video definitely needs to be above the fold. all that sort of stuff, and looking at any spots that basically that are underutilized. And straight away, I see this big gap here that's underutilized. And so now what I'm doing is I'm just having a look out there because this product is actually a traffic product. So, and the avatar or the people that this product is going to appeal to are already established marketers or newbie affiliate marketers who actually struggle with traffic. So it is actually, so it's really important that we know who the people are that we're talking to, and essentially we are actually calling them out in this particular headline. We do have other headlines that we will test, which are, income related, how much money you can make from this, yada, 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 all that sort of stuff. So we have a set of different sort of angles, slight variations. There's certain things that don't change too much, like this top line here tends to stay the same. We might have one or two that we test with that, but otherwise we pretty much leave that as that is. This main headline is the one that we tend to change. And the messaging there is a little bit different so that we can do A/B testing, A headline against B headline, see which one actually has the higher conversion rate. And typically we'd be looking for around 300 clicks to the sales letter, each one, to actually get a measurable, like an actual result that we can go, okay, this is giving us a clear winner here. Sometimes you find that there's not a clear winner, but typically most of the time you do find that one will supersede the other one pretty quickly. And also we need to take into account the upsells that are selling too. So sometimes we might find that because we're talking and calling out an affiliate, they're more likely to invest in the upsells. And so we need to consider that too when doing the A/B testing. So up here, what I'm going to look at doing here, it is probably what I'll put there is a live tracker on like how many people are actually purchasing live. And so that would need a software code, and it will make the sales letter a little bit more interactive. And of course, this particular vendor, who's Frank Andres, actually has a software company as well. And so he actually does create all of the tools and everything that he uses with his traffic gen. He uses his own software tools that he's created. So instead of he'll go out, find the ones in the marketplace, and he'll actually go and build his own version and so forth and so on. And yeah, so it's pretty cool. So it'll be good for us to actually have something that's a little bit more interactive on the sales page because it's kind of really in line with his brand. This is insane, and I really did struggle with this whole like 104,288. And Frank is really big on actually making sure that we tell people the real life value of what the bonuses are. And literally, this is the real life value. And I had to calculate it quite a few times. The reason why it's so large, though, is that he actually does give away 100K worth of prizes. And so everybody will get the opportunity to win these prizes. And these are SaaS software tools that affiliates really need in their business. And so basically, he's giving that away. So that leaves 4,288, which is the marketing, all of the marketing tools that come with it. Because not only is he's not just selling traffic here and giving away 1,000 clicks of buyer traffic, he is actually giving away, giving, all of the tools, the opt-in pages, what he finds works really well, how to all those sort of things. He also has a which his wife talked him into creating, which is $1 million secret weapon that he has, which basically helps him with tracking everything. And so he's giving that away too, which was a last minute thing that he decided to pop into the members area. And so, yeah, I think he just really has, good intentions in terms of being able to show people exactly what tools they need and what he has found has worked really well for him. So we need to try and convey that message in the copy and convey that message. So at the moment, we're collecting up testimonials, and he has about 15 at the moment. And, in true Frank Andre's fashion, what he did was that he created a instead of just asking people, he did ask people if they would like to, do a testimonial based on the traffic that people have purchased from him and all that sort of stuff, all of his members. But he actually has a like software that he just built where people can fill in all the information and then it generates the testimonial. So that's quite cool. So there'll probably be some code or something that goes on the page. So I don't know whether or not these are going to change or how it's going to work, but anyway, he told me about it and I was like, oh, okay, well, I'll just save those spots then. And then here's the beginning of the sales letter. So a few things here too is that on purpose, we've selected this color for the buy button. We just keep it really, Amazon have led the way here with the color of the buy button, and they've done loads of testing, and who are we to make a change to that? So I pretty much just stick to that colorway. I've tried green, I've tried blue, black, all sorts of other colors before, but typically I think, this colorway seems to work really well. So just kind of keep it like that. People are used to that colorway as being the button that you would push to buy something or put something in your cart. So typically have kept it like that. Next up, well, I chose the color white. Really wanted to do white with the background with the sales letter as opposed to it being black or a dark blue. But I am a little bit concerned about the color here with the actual copy. It does change to white down here as we get further in. It does change to white, and then the page changes to the darker color, as you can see. And yeah, that's my only concern is I want to make sure that, well, initially, actually, the creative team didn't have white on this color. They had like a gray, so it was a little bit faint and hard to read. And I was like, yeah, so any input from you guys on that would be great. I had thought that perhaps this needed to be more of a light blue maybe in the background and then go with a black font. So it may be that I'll get the guys to the creative team to actually create a second clone of this page once we're finished with all the other things. And the last thing I'll do is suggest to them that we just have a look at some different colors with this background here. What do you guys think?
Perhaps a slightly larger and more open font for the reversed areas.
Yeah,
because
here.
if the font is too small, you tend to get a flicker effect on your eye.
Yeah, I think that too.
Yes, I agree.
Originally, yeah, you guys agree? Yeah, I think bigger
Either that or bring the black back to a slightly lighter grey. Not a middle grey, quite a dark one, but just not a direct black and white contrast.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that what I tend to find is that if I'm looking at something and I think, then I know that actually there's an issue. So yeah, I do think that this will need to be changed. So that background, yeah, either like a gray or like a blue that is quite a light blue, but not too light, you know? That,
The gradient over the next section where he says, hi, I'm Frank Andres, if that extended up, you
yes,
could then reduce the lighter blue at the end of the gradient so it still had a dark feel to it.
yeah,
And that would tie those two sections together.
yeah, it probably would. That's correct, I reckon too. Yeah, I'll feed that back into the creative team. Yeah, I think that too. Because it is really these, I mean, they might seem like small things, but they're really not. They're big things. And color is a big thing when it comes to uh, sales letters and connecting with people. And of course, you want to make it easy for everybody to read. I mean, obviously, there's a percentage of people that don't really go down the page, you know? They'll watch the video and then, okay, yeah, this is going to solve my problem. I'm going to buy it. And off they go. And then there'll be a percentage of people who will definitely go through the page. They'll want to have a look down the side column here at these bonuses to see exactly what they are. Because, obviously, when we're doing the Swiss Army knife of marketing powerhouse, what exactly is that? What exactly is the $1 million secret weapon, And so they'll come down here and they'll be able to go through and have a look and see what they are. And yeah, I see we have some light gray here, which will have to be fixed because that's a little bit, yeah. I also struggle a little bit with the size of this font on the side, but obviously they're restricted with space. But maybe I'll have a little talk to them about that because it'd be good to get it a little bit bigger, a little bit bigger. And we probably won't have this is a countdown. We don't, one thing, yeah, too, to know, it's really interesting. I do see a lot of sales pages out there with countdowns. Um, but, and I guess it really depends on the product. But we do find that it works really well on the last day having the countdown timer. But, we don't want any fake scarcity. I mean, it is, if we're going to have a timer on there and we have a 7-day launch, then it's not ending in like 7 minutes. You know what I mean? So rather just have a countdown that is a real countdown, so forth and so on. And so this story here, which yeah, so this story kind of came about as there was a bit of feedback from, I mean, not feedback, there was a bit of information that came, quite a bit of information that came through from Frank in terms of like a sales letter copy that he had worked on. And so I'd taken that and then, applied hitting all of the different questions and pain points that people have. But typically, traffic is the biggest pain point for all affiliates. And also the quality of the traffic. The great thing here is that Frank is offering buyer clicks. So these people have already purchased. They're not cold traffic, they're actually warm traffic. So there's a vast difference. And also, it's cheap as chips, like $17.95. Typically, you would have to buy 1,000 buyer clicks. I don't know. They might even sell for $1,000, to be honest. At least 500 for 1,000 buyer clicks. And so, yeah, just really just talking to people about what they're frustrated about, what they're sick and tired of, coming across. And yeah, and so we just take them through Frank's journey because, of course, we all used to be newbie marketers at one stage. We just never gave up and found our own way of doing things. And essentially, Frank is actually quite unique. He's good at things, at certain things, and not as good at other things. And he is completely different from other marketers. And most people wouldn't even know who Frank is, except for that they've seen him on leaderboards and wondered, who is this guy? Because he just quietly goes about his thing in the background. And so he has built a rather large business over the last few years. But he also has followed a lot and bought a lot of products from, super affiliates who have been in IM for 15, 20 years, sort of thing. And he's learned a lot from them. And he just kind of dawned to him really that, the money is in the list. So then he went about building a list, and this is where this has all come about. And he's very, very clever at getting people to stay on sales pages and just to go to the next stage. And so he's just very good at that. And so we have some proof of his stats of winning contests and sending 200, 300 sales in like 3 or 4 days, so forth and so on. And so we just take people through, and basically here we're saying we understand this is the problem. Used to be his problem too, until he worked it out. Here's the proof, and here's what he learned, and here's what he's offering. Obviously, and then we're actually going through that these are actually guaranteed. So you'll absolutely get 1,000 buyer clicks for just 17.97. And then we're going through the traditional traffic sources versus the buyer click system, how much it costs. And we also have a guarantee here. So we guarantee that we're going to be delivering 1,000 real buyer clicks, and so forth and so on. So we also go through how it works, how you provide your URL, our system validates it, the traffic begins flowing. You monitor it real-time results because he'll give you a tool to do that as well. And you scale what works, and then you just make sales, and that's how it works. And so we have an outline there. And then we're going through the marketing and also the 100K worth of prizes, which are white label software, mobile apps, and SMS platforms, SaaS platforms. And this is the $1 million inventory tool. And so, yeah, we take everybody through it. Now we also have we're actually going to pay people, and the thing is that Frank wanted to put that on there, and he has done that once before on another product, and so he just is committed to make sure that he and his team actually do deliver exactly what he's offering here, and so he's willing to put his money where his mouth is, basically. So it's good to always have that. And essentially, when we look at Gary Halbert's, we're making an offer to people here with this product that is stupid silly. It's like you just can't get this for 17.95. It's nuts. And in fact, we're giving all of that money away to the affiliates. So yes, that's what we're doing. And then we have the outline of the real value of everything that we're offering here. And then we have, download your copy here. Actually, it might change the wording there because it's not a download. Oh, yes, that actually font and spacing looks good. Maybe I should be using that at the top. And then, yeah, no, we just keep going through. We keep going through talking about what it is that we're offering, so forth and so on. We're going through exactly what's in the package. So we're communicating it in many different ways, comparing it to competitors. We're also clearly outlining what it is that you get so that people understand what it is that they're getting, so forth and so on. And we continue going through that. And we'll have our testimonials, which will go in here as well. Actually, we don't have a money back guarantee, so I actually need to change this because we're not offering a refund, because once the 1,000 clicks are delivered, they're non-refundable. it's non-refundable, this product. So I'll just double check this. But obviously we do have a satisfaction guarantee. So this money back part of this needs to be changed. And the guys have just missed that. And then, yeah, we have some additional priority support, advanced tracking dashboard, custom traffic analysis, custom optimization guide, and an ROI calculator suite that we're also popping inside of the members area for everybody. We just want to make sure that everybody's got the tools. And so this is the investment. This is actually incorrect because this should say 104. And so I'll just get that updated. And so you can see how things, and because that's not their fault, actually, what's happened is that we've made some changes. I've made some iterations in the actual original copy, but they've probably just already created it, so forth and so on. So this is the no refund. And so we'll probably put a little heading here and make this more obvious. We might need to actually put this on its own backing to make sure that people understand that one. And yeah, so you'll notice that we have a lot of opportunities, a lot of CTA buttons that are here. And so that's there on, yeah. And so of course, this is going to have to change because that's not correct and it's not a downloadable, it's an access stuff and so forth and so on. And we just, oh no, there we go. I was going to say we're just missing the disclaimer terms and stuff, but that's actually there. And a couple more things that will need to go on the bottom there. But it is important to have these, to have contact details. We want to have the support desk. We want to have a point of call where people can contact the team. And we have terms, disclaimer, privacy, anti-spam stuff here. We have the Warrior Plus disclaimer. I probably will have also pop Frank Andre's name down here as well, and the copyright information. Yeah, and obviously we always have the frequently asked questions as well. And so I just need to check those because it looks like we have a little bit of a double up there. But yes, otherwise, this is the sales letter starting to come to life. Now, in terms of the sales letter design, the next sales letter that I'll probably do for Frank, we'll see how this one goes, right? And if it goes really well, like we probably won't defer from it, like but I mean, there are many different ways that you can have a sales letter. You don't necessarily have to have this sidebar. But what I love about the sidebar is that you can just have so much more information in the on the product there, and it's information rich without being too overwhelming. Anyway, that's my thoughts there. And obviously this page is, a well tested sales page layout. But there are many different types of sales pages that you see out there that don't have the sidebar, and have generated huge results. So I think if you can get, the product obviously is really, really important. Like we thought a lot about this product. We put this product through beta testing as well. And then we made the product even better after the beta test. So it did a beta test. It made $17,000. It delivered. It had great results for the people who purchased it. And that gives us the confidence to then bring this out as Frank's debut launch. So there's many, 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 many things that go on in the background. But essentially, this is the sales letter. But really, at the end of the day, the proof is in the pudding when we launch this product. And I'll be super pleased to bring you all the results. So this one here is actually going to be live on the 9th, Wednesday, the 9th of April. And so I'll be able to the following week be able to actually go through the results of how the sales letter performed. Because there's certain metrics that we're looking to achieve. Yeah. And I think on next week's live, I'll actually go through the funnel with a little bit more detail too, because the funnel is really important. Because often when we're looking at the funnel, right? If I just bring up the, whoops. Is, oh, I know what I've done. clicksystem.com/JB. That one there. That's it. Oh, are you joking? It didn't work. Here we go. No, it's working. So with the funnel, yes, here it is here. So with the actual funnel here, OTO1, this is something new, right? This is something new. This is going to be really interesting to see how this goes. And in fact, the sales pages are not quite ready yet, but we have 3 price points on the actual OTO sales page. So it enables the buyer to actually choose which one they want to buy. So they can get option 1, get 2,000 clicks. So they'll get an additional 2,000 clicks for $27. So instead of having 1,000, then they'll have 3,000, right? And there are some more premium enhanced tools that will come with this as well. Option 2 is you can get an additional 5,000 for 47. And then option 3 is unlimited clicks for 197, which is nuts. Now, these OTOs, so that one there will probably stay there and be permanent. This next OTO, OTO2 and OTO3 will most probably only be on this product for the duration of the launch, and after the launch it'll be switched out for different products because the delivery of these is insane. This one here is paid traffic, so it actually gets you targeted traffic that is sent right in front of people who are actually interested in buying that product, because these guys are the masters really of generating their own leads. So they know exactly what they're doing. And this one here is Frank actually has hundreds of websites, hundreds of websites. He also has platforms that are specifically built where people go to it and they're showing ads. And and they're encouraged to actually click and view some of these ads. And so these are traffic networks, and he has loads of those as well. And so these are going to be available for people to buy and try for a short period of time. But Frank really didn't want to do it. But he also really wants to, this is his debut launch, so he wanted to make a splash. So it would be really interesting to see how that goes. So those sales pages are actually, we'll have 3 price points on there so people can just choose what they want to do. So it'll be really interesting for us to see what sells there, and it will be interesting to see how our average order value ends up, because really we were aiming to be over $30. So it'll be interesting to see how this actually transpires and how this comes about. Alrighty, let's open up for some Q&A. If you guys have any questions or anything in particular that you want to talk about, of course.
One small point on the design of that. There's a section in the middle of the page where there's only the left column, and there's just a blank space to the right. So it
Yeah,
goes from your eyes going across two columns to over to the left, back to the centre. Perhaps something like testimonials or something like that to fill it in.
yeah, agree. That is a great
Either that or just
thing.
bring that across to a centre column.
Yeah, yeah, either that or yeah, bring it across. Probably, I think testimonials will be hugely valuable there, or even any publications or anything that Frank has maybe been in, um, or anything else. Yeah, I think there's definitely that's a great call out there. Yeah, we don't want to waste any blank space, like you say.
Just on that point, what's the percentage of marketers, because this is what it's aimed at, who would be seeing it on small screens rather than desktop screens?
Oh, yes, I've told the team, I said to them, you'll need to
It's
make sure once
got
we
to
finish this, you'll have to fix the mobile view. I saw it too. So they
because
haven't done
that's what
that.
I'm struggling with that on a design at the moment.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, on an iPad, it probably doesn't look great either. Well, oh, are you designing one and struggling with that?
Not It's a full site. I'm doing a redesign of a client site, and
Mobile view is a struggle.
it's a well, it isn't actually. It's just kind of shove everything one on top of the other. But then when you bring it out to a desktop, it looks so bland,
Yeah,
and you got to muck around a fair bit to get it to look reasonable.
yeah, you're right. So, what software are you using?
I'm just using Gutenberg on WordPress for it because I'd used a page builder for the initial site, and that required a fair number of plugins. So the site is starting to run very slow.
Oh,
So I'm powering it back to as few plugins as I can.
yeah.
And unfortunately, these days, of course, you've got to have a cookie consent, and you've got to have a accessibility plugin, and all sorts of things like that.
Yeah, I know.
And it's difficult to find a cookie consent that you can switch on and off depending on which place they come from.
Mm,
So,
yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, the mobile view is a tough one because even this is Thrive Architect that we're using to design this
mm,
sales letter. My own personal website is Divi. I use Divi. I've used ClickFunnels for other sites and OPS3, of course, and various other builders. And yeah, yeah, yeah. The mobile version is basically another build in itself.
mm.
Yeah, and then yeah, it is definitely tricky. I do find that yeah, it's a real shame, isn't it? Because it does take a little bit of work, because sometimes can you select to just show this element on desktop, but show
Mm.
this element on mobile device?
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. So it is a lot of extra work. So once you've done the desktop, then you've got to go back and essentially redesign it again for a mobile device. But these days we have to because so many people will use their mobile phone.
And the other problem being that everyone's got a different screen size. So you finish up with a ton of CSS to make it work at various sizes. So I'm tending to go for a more simplified approach, and instead of just picking the three default sizes that WordPress usually gives you, I always do a complete just a dynamic compression
Oh,
uh,
good idea.
on the browser, just seeing where exactly it breaks,
Yeah.
and that can be quite interesting sometimes. I got it just right. No, I didn't.
Oh gosh. Oh well, if you need a hand or anything with that, or you need me to have a look and see what it looks like on my mobile device or my
Yeah.
iPad and stuff, let me know. Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? Often, as marketers, we're just kind of like da, 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 send it out, and then I go, and then I think to myself a few hours later or the next day, I go, oh, how did that actually look on a mobile device? And then I go on my mobile and I'm like, oh my God, terrible. I need to
Hmm.
fix it now. So we've really got to remember that we've got to look at the different sizes because it doesn't, and when is somebody going to build a software that automatically just takes it and just designs it so that it's mobile friendly?
Yes, some of the new AI design tools that are coming out, in theory, should do a better job of that, but I haven't tested any as yet.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
It can't be too far away, surely, because it
yeah.
would be a pain point for everybody. Everybody. Hmm. Oh, well, thank you for that. That was good. Oh, yeah, you got to unmute yourself, Lyndon.
Can I just ask? Yeah, I'm kind of new to all this, really. So forgive me, I'm a bit of a, newbie. But yesterday I had an amazing epiphany because I was working on my new website to take over from my netbook site, and I got stuck. So I asked ChatGPT. I said, "What and it was to do with mobile. Yeah, it was to do with stacking testimonials on mobile, and I just couldn't get it to work. From the WordPress side. So I just asked ChatGPT, and I was amazed because she's a she for me. She came up with all sorts of solutions I hadn't thought of, and suggested software. So, Robert, have you tried asking ChatGPT about these problems?
No, I haven't yet. Basically, I
Oh,
generally just work it on the CSS. What I'm doing at the moment with these sites is I'm using the Cadence theme and the Cadence
oh yeah,
blocks,
yeah.
and you can then decide which order the block goes in. And that tends to solve the stacking order problem.
Ah,
And it really just comes back to widths.
right, right, yeah. Yeah, but anyway, it's quite a good resource to know you could. I didn't realize that ChatGPT knew so much about websites, but certainly she
Oh,
does.
yeah, 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 yeah. Because ChatGPT is just scanning the internet to collate all the information that it
Yeah,
the
yeah,
question, which is brilliant.
yeah.
We're stuck and I'm
Amazing.
not sure, oh, what is this thing? I can put it into ChatGPT and get an outline of what it is so then I have a clearer understanding of what it is that needs to be done. It
Yeah,
certainly is, uh, I mean, I use ChatGPT every single day
yeah, me too.
because, yeah, yeah, yeah. Especially like research or refining things or so she's just such a great tool, just very, yeah, we're really fortunate to have GPT, I reckon. But
Yeah,
I still, it's so funny though, because I sent out a few emails yesterday and I just find myself writing those emails. And I think I should just take this email and put it into ChatGPT and get them to write it. But then I kind of feel like it gets, still a lot of iterations because even, sort of saying like, I want this written in my voice, you still want to be genuine with your
yeah,
messaging and things like that. So, yeah, we don't
yeah,
want to become too robotic because obviously I can see a lot of messages, emails, documents that have been written, and I often look at them and I go, oh, this is not a human written document. And then it just feels like, I mean, it's creditable, but it feels like it also loses its human touch and
Mhm.
also doesn't feel so genuine.
Mm.
So we
Loses the warmth.
yeah,
yeah,
it does. It
yeah,
loses the warmth, loses the warmth.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think it's great for outlining things. I
Mm.
don't
Oh, definitely.
I don't use it per se at all. I just get an outline and then I fill it all in, and that guides me. And sometimes I just totally change it, but then at the end I put it back into ChatGPT and ask for opinions.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
really
good.
useful tool, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes we want to just make it a lot easier for the reader to read or a bit more engaging for them, things like that. But
Mm.
yeah, I also am conscious of keeping my mind tuned because the second that we start relying too heavily on ChatGPT,
Yeah.
then
Yep.
we become lazy and we really have got to, as writers, as creative people, as marketers, to be
Mm.
writing a lot of stuff ourselves. And even the headlines I manually wrote. And then, yeah, I put them into ChatGPT and said, like, what other examples do you have? And there was the odd word or there was the odd one that I thought, okay, well, this is not bad. I'll actually test that. And it'll be interesting to see, in the A/B testing, which ones go well. It's never the one that I think. It's very interesting. So that's why I'm like I always want to do A/B testing because I'm always like the headline that I think that is going to be the best is often not. It's the one that makes the less sense actually seems to work. Yeah, and it's the same with the copywriting and the storytelling and things like that too. I sort of think, oh God, sometimes, and even just reading back the one that's here now on the sales page for Buy a Click System, I started to want to rewrite some of it, and then I thought, no, what are you doing? No, because you should leave it as it is. Just make sure that it's easy to read. It has the right message. There really is no uh nothing like testing that I have to really test that sales letter. Yes, I can store some extra copy in a folder, and then if it's an absolute disaster on launch day, I can go in and make changes. But never had that happen, so it's highly unlikely. But anyway,
As far as images, I'm finding Gemini is quite good. Um, the
really,
site I'm working on is a dietitian site,
mm,
and I need pictures of food and various other things. And I'm finding that Gemini produces very lifelike results and fairly consistent. If you create one and then say, no, change this bit, it obviously goes off on a tangent and changes a few other things as well. But it generally seems to be getting the idea more than some of the others do.
mm. Is there a cost associated with Gemini when you're using it, or
No,
is there a limitation, or?
no, I haven't. Well, I haven't done a huge amount at one time. My other one that I normally use is free pick, but you only get a certain amount a day before you just have to start paying.
Mm.
But Gemini, there's apparently an advanced Gemini which I haven't gone on to as yet. But just going to Gemini Google and typing an image prompt gives very good results.
Oh, I'm going to test that out.
Mm.
Awesome. Thanks for the tip. All right,
Yeah.
guys, that's a wrap. Thank you so much for joining me today with the sales letter. Certainly would love to see you next week. And then the week after that, pretty much will be some of the results I think coming on. It might be
Mm.
we. Oh, yeah, it will be. It will be.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it will be some of
it'll
the.
be interesting to see how it goes.
Yeah, it'll be super, super interesting because really, yeah, that's really the proof that, you know, that was the right choice. That was the right color choice, that headline, this story, that video. Right. Tick, tick, tick. Or cross, cross, cross. Oh. But anyway, I'll be ready to and on hand to make changes and have backups and all sorts of things running. That's the other thing too, guys. Make sure you always take loads of backups of your sales letters. Already, I have a backup of this sales letter, even though this one's not ready. I mean, you want to always have copies of copies of copies. And I'm telling you that because we actually didn't do that on one of the products that I'm representing at the moment. But we have now because we made
Yep,
some changes
experience is a great teacher.
and we were like, oh, I thought you took a copy. No, I didn't take a copy. I'm like, well, there's no copy and we've made changes to this copy and we didn't keep the original copy. What? Are we rookies? We're not rookies. What were we thinking? So we made a copy, and luckily for us, the mobile version had the old copy on it. So we were able to grab it from there, which was kind of good. because we'd made the changes on a desktop. All right, that's it. I will catch you later. Thank you so much for joining me. And yeah, I'll get a recording of this out to you guys just in case you want it. And yeah, bye.
Bye. See ya.
Bye.